So we're back with part 2 of our lesson. And I have my blue dog drawn, and I have my abstract design in the background. So now I get to add color. I'm going to use the color wheel to help me make some choices about my color. I'm going to choose a color for my dog, and it doesn't have to be blue, but you don't want it to be realistic either. So I think I'm going to make a green dog today. So I'm going to do my dog green. The nice thing about that is I have some different kinds of green in my crayon set, in my oil crayon. And if you're using crayons and you have one of those big sets of crayons, you've got a lot of different options, or what we call hues of the same color. You'd have light green, dark green, yellow green, all of those colors. So whatever you choose, you'll have some options to go with that. I'm going to choose to use color sticks. We have these in the art room. They are like colored pencils without the lead. So I'm going to choose to use those. You may choose to use color sticks. You may choose oil crayon. You may choose regular crayon. You may choose marker. If you choose oil crayon, regular crayon, color sticks, please make sure that you're pressing hard and you're filling in. You want this to look almost like you've painted it. If you're using marker, you won't have to press hard, but you still want to make sure you're filling in neatly. So I'm going to start adding color to my dog by filling in. Now, if you're using the color sticks, you can really easily fill in by using the side, but you also can really easily use the edge and show a lot of scribbly lines. And so I'm trying to fill in by in more of a circular motion and really make sure that I'm getting this filled in well. The nice thing about some of the things we're using too is you can blend them a little bit. So I'm going to go in and going really careful around this. If you have regular colored pencils, you can use regular colored pencils too, especially for the details. These color sticks are nice to use for larger areas. So I'm going to work on filling in this green dog for me, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about background and finishing up. So I have finished adding color to my green dog, and now I need to think about my background color. So you can see up in the corner I have a color wheel. And we're going to talk a little bit about color choices and how to use the color wheel to make color choices. So we know our basic color groups are primary, red, yellow, blue, and secondary, green, orange, and purple. So one thing I could do to help this green stand out is to choose other parts of the color group that green belongs to from my background. So I could do purple and orange in my background, and that would help my green stand out. The other thing I could do was look at warm and cool colors. Because my dog is green, and I know that blue, green, and purple are cool colors, I could do my background with blue and purple and make this more of a cool colored painting. Another thing I could do is that colors directly across the color wheel from each other are called complementary colors. That means if you put them next to each other, they look good together. They help bring each other out. So if you look at the color wheel, the color directly across from yellow is purple. Those are complementary. The color directly across from orange is blue. That is a complementary set. And the color directly across from green is red, and I already have a good example of that on my paper because I chose a red collar on my green, and it just helps to bring everything out. So another thing I could do was decide on more of a red background. Now that limits the amount of colors I could use. However, pink is also a form of red, and if you're using something like a big box of Crayola crayons that has lots of different shades of red, different hues of red, then that is something that you could really use to your benefit. One more color set that you can think about using is what we call analogous colors. Analogous colors are colors that are neighbors on the color wheel. So if I choose green and I look on either side of green, on one side of green I'll have blue, and on the other side of green I'll have yellow. And in fact, blue and yellow mix to make green. That's an analogous set of colors. So I could use that analogous set and use blue and yellow in my background. I'm going to choose to do secondary colors. So green is a secondary, and I also know that purple and blue are secondaries, and so I'm going to use those in my background, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. Okay, so I started adding color to my background and using what I know about color in the color wheel. I did cold colors in the background, but I also added a little bit of red, knowing that red was a complementary, just to give that an additional pop. Mine is not finished yet. You're going to want to finish your whole background first before you move on to this next step. So finish the whole background, make sure everything is colored in dark and waxy and colored in well. Then you're going to want to take a black Sharpie. Now, if you choose to do this in oil crayon, do not use the black Sharpie. If you choose to do this in oil crayon, then you're going to want to use a black oil crayon to go around your outlines and details. If you used a regular crayon, you can use a Sharpie. I'm going really careful because I don't want to get outside of my lines and have this green color inside the snout because I got sloppy. I gave him a little mouth right there, a little chin. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to trace all of these details, and all of these kind of furry lines that I drew I'm going to go over. I'm going to really go slow so I'm not sloppy about, I don't want the background color inside the dog and I don't want the dog color in the background. That can happen really easily if you're really sloppy about going over your lines in between. So just take your time. I always go a little faster because I want you to have time to work and because I've been doing this for a long time. So I've gotten to where I can even add some details there. If you want to add details like that, you can. Do that in the background also. So I'm going to go over those again, making sure you're staying right on that line like that. And that just will really make the details in your dog or cat really pop out. It will really clean up some lines for you, and then you can again add some of those other little details like lines for toes and things. I colored in my pupils up there. Make sure you give that, sometimes if you're doing the Sharpie on wax, on something waxy, it might smear. You got to kind of give it a minute to dry. So just make sure that you do that. Maybe if you start at the top and work down, you'll have to worry a little less about that. So that's it. That's how you do this and finish it. I'm going to do this ear here. Make sure that when you are done, you sign the bottom. Take a photo of it and turn it into Google Classroom or Seesaw. Have fun with this project. Remember, the color and the patterns are in the background are what make it abstract. Have fun.